Hey flockers! Today's video is a little different. We are talking to Candace and Sharon from Magnolia Exotic Bird Sanctuary in Texas about their recent experience surviving the crippling winter storms that plunged the state of Texas into record-setting low temperatures and power outages lasting for days. We wanted to learn how Magnolia prepared for the storm, what they did with over 150 exotic parrots when electricity failed, and what their plans are to protect the flock in the future. We'll also talk about the special flock members who were lost. Magnolia Exotic Bird Sanctuary is located just outside Houston, in an area hard hit by the storm. They are home to 152 exotic parrots, the bulk of whom live in spacious outdoor aviaries year-round. We asked Candace to explain to us how the aviaries are set up.
Always during the winter, all the aviaries outside are always tarped to keep the north wind off. So it's Pacific sides. And there are always lamps out there if there's any naked birdies, and heaters. This time, every part of those aviaries were tarped. Top, bottom, sides. Everybody had blankets. Massive amount of more heaters. She brought as many indoors as she could. And, and moving birds out of aviaries is, I said to Sharon, I said, boy, you certainly have not lost your touch.
It was a very crowded place with birds stacked everywhere, but only a small number of the flock would fit inside buildings. There was a lot of preparation for the approaching storm.
To tarp all those aviaries, I don't know, there's 15 of them out there, sides, tops, everywhere. Extension cords, heat lamps, more heat lamps, more heaters, a lot of extra food. We probably went through 100 pounds of nuts, walnuts, almonds, because the fat for them is really good, and just tried to get everybody as warm and toasty as we could. No wind, and never thought, again, lots of food, lots of nuts, no wind, and we never thought we'd lose electricity.
When the storm hit, Magnolia expected rolling blackouts, but when the power went off, it stayed off.
Our first outage was 24 hours. And then the second one was about 12 or 14 hours. Then it went on and off until it finally came back on. But it always went out. It was always out when it was the coldest. It wasn't out, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we'd gotten up to 22 degrees. They won't die, but they will die at 7 degrees, -1 feel like. They die.
Temperatures continued to drop. Texas temperatures dropped well below freezing, setting record lows across the state. Water and electrical conditions were so dire, newspapers across the globe picked up on the story. Candace told us the first night was rough. They woke up to freezing temperatures, and the power was still off.
That first morning when we looked out there, we'd already lost electricity, and Sharon looked out the window and we couldn't see the heat lamps. Honestly, I thought she was going to be ill. She was frozen. I can't go see, because we really thought it was going to be devastatingly many dead birds. At that time, everybody was upright. And we did discover a little bit later there was We had one die, one that night, and one the next night, but didn't discover the first one that died until later in the afternoon. He was in his box.
Many of the outdoor walk-in aviary birds have nest boxes to give them an opportunity to shelter from the elements, and this is where most of the flock congregated as temperatures dropped. As the storms ended, only 2 birds were lost. These birds died when power was off in the middle of the night at the coldest part of the storm. Peekaboo, a 65-year-old blind Moluccan, and Wally, age unknown, a citron cockatoo who was a survivor of Hurricane Ike.
We are thankful we only lost 2, but Peekaboo, he had a nest box and heat lamp. Of course, he didn't, it didn't matter because the heat, electricity went off, but he died at his food bowl. So we think maybe, it was that cold that he got confused because he was old and blind. He died right at his food bowl. And the other Wally, we think, died of frostbite.
A lady in down south rescued him off of a man's back porch. He had 3 inches left in his cage before he would have drowned. And the people just had to evacuate and couldn't get him, I guess. I don't know.
Or they were at work and couldn't get back home. I mean, we don't really know.
As electricity was restored, the sanctuary remained under a boil water advisory, and things began to slowly get back to normal. Although a winter storm like this is rare, there are many other weather events such as hurricanes that threaten electricity and water infrastructure. Magnolia never wants to be put in a position again where a single bird is lost, and they have plans to become more self-sufficient in the future.
Yes, well, there's actually 3 or 4 different things going on right now. So definitely generators. Most generators are operated by gas, and that will be huge. So that's the short term. Okay, generators, more extension cords, all of that. Probably, I don't know how many we'd need out there, but I don't know. Right now we're thinking maybe 4. But the more long-term plan is to try and make the sanctuary more self-sufficient, so we're not reliant on electric and water. We're going to be checking into probably this week or the following week about propane tank installation. That would cost, with all the piping, and have generators that are hooked up to propane. Because even when we think about tropical storms and hurricanes, which everybody expects to lose power if it hits you because of the lines and the trees and the wind, unlike this cold weather, it would still be fabulous to have that. And we're even looking into maybe having a well dug. And then the well would be hooked up to propane as well. So that's kind of the more bigger picture, long term. Some of the aviaries may have a permanent side put on the north side. Not all of them, but some of them. And also for just tarps in general, to have them set up so that it's an easy roll up and it's an easy roll down. Because what happens in the wintertime and everything starts to get tarped up, tarps wear out, they get old, the weather's hard on them, and you gotta get new tarps, you gotta figure out a way to do bungee cords and staples, and it's a project. So even that is part of okay, we need to find a way to be able to do this faster, easier and to be more helpful to the birds. Our big goals is to have either a building built on the property and or like 2 homes, like trailers. You know how they have to make double wide and then you put them together? Because we're kind of limited in what we can get back there in a truck. Anyway, and it would be set up that you just pull the birds in there. Some small walk-ins for the the whole thing is nothing but it will all be a place for them to get to safety.
You can become part of the story, make a real difference by making a donation. Magnolia is a registered nonprofit, and every donation counts, no matter how large or small. Please click on the link down in the description and show Magnolia your support. Thank you, Candace and Sharon, for sharing your story. Our hearts go out for the loss of Wally and Peekaboo.